get that started. So that's officially started. And I'm also, I just want to make sure I can see that it's started. It should be. And I'm not sure, Sandra, if you can tell if it's officially started recording. I did click it, but I just want to make sure. Looks like.
Yes, I can see it.
Great, got it. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to Coaching Demos. Sharpen your listening and questioning skills. I am so excited about this, and this is backed by popular demand. We like to do these every so often, and hold these webinars, and so I'm really excited about doing that. And I just want to show a few slides, then we'll get right into the coaching demos. And we're also keeping an eye open for our two coachees that should be arriving. One I had a text, slightly delayed because of a plane situation, so hopefully they will appear shortly, but we've always got other options too. And so I'm just going to say a little bit about myself. Then I'm going to introduce this wonderful person who is going to be another coach for our coaching demos today, and then we'll kind of dig right into it. And as you can see, most of you I'm sure can read. I'm the CEO and founder of Coaching Out of the Box, and I'm absolutely passionate about everyone, and some of you might have seen that slide at the beginning, learning coaching skills. And that's because of what I've seen happen in organizations and in individuals when they are really listened to, when they're asked fabulous questions, when there's someone who's focused completely on them and working to bring out the brilliance of them. And so these coaching demos today are designed to sort of support you, and hopefully you'll learn something as well. I'd like to now, I'm so thrilled today that I have someone who I've known for a long time in coaching, Amy Ruppert. And Amy has an organization called the Integreship Group, and she has enormous experience in coaching. You'll see she's chaired 5 global coaching conferences. She's an MCC. She was very pivotal in the earlier days of Coaching Out of the Box, very, very involved in developing our programs, personal groundwork, for example, and supporting all the other programs that we have here at Coaching Out of the Box. And Amy, please, let's have a look at you. Let's see you. And what else would it be great for us to know?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
About you?
I don't. I've been coaching since 3 minutes before dirt. I don't know, a long time. So, and a lot of the work that I do is coaching organizational leaders in my private coaching practice, but we also work with organizational leaders on their people skills. So I get involved in a lot of situations in the workplace, and I really enjoy that work. And I'm also a co-author of a book called Who's the Boss, which is about confronting the elephant in the room. And it gives kind of a coaching process for people to go through themselves when they find themselves in one of these really tricky workplace dynamics. And so there's some self-assessment tools and then some ways to strategize your way out of it. So I co-wrote that with my business partner, Karen Alber, who was the former CIO of Miller Coors and Heinz, yes, the ketchup people, and the beer people, and Rachel Shaming, who's got 30 years of HR and organizational development background. So we're real excited about that book. It just came out last year. Aside from that, I don't know. I raised greater Swiss mountain dogs. How's that for something personal?
That's great. That's great. So as you can see, we can't wait to experience some of Amy's coaching today as well. And I've been fortunate to get coached by Amy as well. And so, all right. So what are we going to do today? What are our objectives? And I'm just also keeping a tiny eye open for the coachees as they appear. But here's what these are. These are real and unrehearsed. this is not, these demos, we have no idea what's going to happen, Amy or I, and maybe one of us is coaching the other too. We don't know yet. It might be all of a sudden that. And we hope, and it's our intention, that you walk away with some skills and tips and maybe even some aha moments. And also, you know, watching a few different styles. And aside from, okay, here's the deal. You know, when I was in my early days of coaching, and even now, and I know Amy probably would agree with me, is I love to see, I learn so much when I see other people coach. And certainly when I experience coaching. And so it's such a valuable way to support and grow your learning when you're developing these coaching skills. And I've just seen that our two coachees are here. Hallelujah, because I'd like to introduce them, and I just need to find them on my list here. Bear with me. Hang on, I'll just switch to, all right, just a second here, because I want to make them, oh, there we go. Ian, there we go. Got Ian here. Terrific. I've promoted Ian. And also, excuse me, Lori. And there she is. Terrific. Lori should be coming up shortly too, I hope. Let's see if there we go. Okay. And I can see Ian is trying to talk, but we can't hear you, Ian. Let's just double check that you've got your mic working. And Lori, while we're seeing Ian fiddle with his, maybe, Lori, can you say hello?
Good morning.
Good morning, Lori, and thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon or good evening, because we have people from all over attending this webinar. Lori, thank you so much for being willing to be coached. And Lori is Lori, would you like to just say a tiny bit, where are you from?
Calgary, Alberta. Not originally, but this is where I've been living for a long time.
Okay, and Lori is a passionate coach, I've experienced, and is doing a fantastic job of developing her coaching business and her coaching skills, etc. And so she's agreed to be our first coachee today while we're and hopefully, and once Ian gets his mic working. So what we're going to do here is the coaching, and I'll just flip to another slide so you can all, well, actually I'll flip to this one. Wait a minute, I guess I didn't have it. It's disappeared for a moment. These coaching demos are going to be approximately 10 minutes in duration. And what we're going to do is, and I'd also like to introduce Sandra, who will be monitoring our chat area for questions and comments and things like that, because on webinars, it's not as interactive as some, it's not quite that way. So we will be monitoring and looking forward to your comments and your questions as the coaching is unfolding and as we do a debrief. So we'll have about 10 minutes of coaching, then we'll have a debrief, and we'll be talking about what we saw, and with some focus in particular on questioning and listening. However, in coaching, we know that we're talking about listening and questioning skills, but coaching can have all kinds of things that come up. And I'm just going to stop my share for a second so that you can see us in a bigger context for the coaching that's going to happen. And so, so we may see some other skills, some other techniques, some other ways of being as coaches as these coaching demos unfold. And so what I'm hoping for is, Amy, if you'd like to jump in and coach Lori. Amy, meet Lori. Lori, meet Amy.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Amy.
Welcome to the coaching hot seat. This is what we used to call it back in the old days.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my own self, and I'm going to let the two of you get started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and Amy, if this works for you, I'm going to watch the clock. Yep. And I'll come. Would you like me to give you about a 2-minute heads up? Would that help?
Would you do that?
I will. I'll absolutely do that. So I'll go off, and I'll let the two of you have some coaching here.
All right.
Thanks, Alison.
Okay.
All right, Lori. Well, for the sake of time, can you give me a brief overview of what you want coaching on, and then just, the essence of it, and I'll backfill with questions if needed. How's that?
That sounds great.
All right.
Someone gave you a heads up. I like to talk. So I thought, I've been coached quite a bit actually in the last few months. Okay, so what is it? Something I'm finding, I'm noticing in my life, and it's, at first I thought, oh, it's my presence in coaching, but I think more than that, I have a lot going on. I have a lot of balls I'm juggling right now, and I keep getting more balls thrown into my circle, and the balls are sort of flying a little bit further away. It feels like to me. I'm on a leave. I broke my shoulder, so I've had lots of time at home recovering, and coaching is really, still very available for me to do, keeping in mind I need to rest. So, and follow through with exercises and committed doctor's appointments and whatever. But so along with the coaching, I'm building a practice and also another program to be part of my future coaching business. So it takes a lot of work. Also, following up with my job that I will be returning to eventually, when healing has happened, and family commitments. I'm a guardian of my aunt who's 103. I have a lot of things on my plate. Plus I have a graphic arts background that is still, people are finding I'm at home now, and it wasn't my good arm that was injured. I might be able to paint. So I picked up 2 commissioned pieces as well. So it's all very important. Some of it's, sort of Zen time for me, family, grandchildren, all that stuff is all sort of being mixed in. And also sort of becoming an empty nester. The last of my 4 is sort of in and out, and just arrived back yesterday. So I thought I would have independence that way, but not quite yet. So, all of these balls I'm juggling, and a class I'm in Tuesday mornings, and homework and all that. So I'm finding just in the last couple of weeks, really kind of realizing and having that awareness, like the balls are sort of getting harder to reach for, to keep them from falling. And so I'm not feeling overwhelmed yet, but I could feel if I don't sort this out somehow, or maybe not drop a ball, but place it over here for now. I know I need some help with that.
Okay.
So see if you can get there in 10 minutes. I don't know.
Well, let's make a dent in it. And first of all, the first thing I'm going to ask is, Ian, I think we can hear you now. So could you put yourself on mute so that we're undisturbed here, Lori? Let's go at it. So you mentioned a couple of things here. You mentioned presence initially, and then juggling a lot of balls. Also sounds like a pretty big transition period of your life as well. Yep. In addition to the injury. So I'm wondering, are you wanting to become a better juggler, or are you wanting to not have so many balls?
I want more hours in my day. Is what I actually can perform quite well with a lot of balls juggling. However, I noticed that I'm reaching a little further for them right now. So I know that there's something a little off. So better juggler, sure, for sure. But maybe I might find there's something that I can sort of place away, you know, a little further away for now until some of the other balls that are a little higher priority. I'm not sure about my presence. I think it's still good. I just don't want it to be affected.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, and there's some things, you know, like if with coaching, and I am coaching quite a bit each week, some of my longer coaches who coach me as well, I might be a little more relaxed with presence, you know, like, you know, with a little thing here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that they are as well, and presume. But some of the things I might do with them, I would definitely not with a different person.
Okay.
So, but I don't want to become so relaxed that I'm not even realizing I'm too relaxed, you know. So my presence really needs to be a little bit more on point. And I don't, you know, so I kind of think if I, you know, become a better juggler, I like that, or place a couple balls over to the side for now, you know, my presence might not be affected at all.
Okay. With the few minutes we have left, I'd just like to know, in this very short span of time, what would you like to walk away with in the next few minutes from this coaching?
I think managing quite well, where it's still, you know, quite nicely, you know, being handled. And yet I like a busy life for sure. I like that, you know.
All right. So can I just zero in on one thing you just said, though, a second ago, because it's got me a little curious here.
Okay.
That you said something's different, something's affecting this. What do you think that might be?
I'm not really sure. I just am aware that I'm picking up more things that I really love to do, but I'm realizing I don't know that I have time to do them in the time frame I have. You know, once I go back to work, I definitely won't have the time to do everything I'm doing now. And resting. Well, I have to sort of separate the injury and recovery, because that takes a lot of time right now, you know, and just weigh whether I can actually keep the pace up while working full time.
And I'm just going to throw a wild question out there that just came up in my head, so I have to ask it.
Okay. Yep.
You said you're starting to empty nest, you've been injured, you're transitioning into coaching, and you've got this other job, but you're doing things you just said, I think I'm paraphrasing though, that you don't really have the time to do. Is there any part of yourself that's trying to distract yourself from anything, do you think?
Possibly. That would require more time, I think, to delve into that, but that's quite possibly why I've taken on the commissioned art pieces. As much as I love it, it's part of a back burner sort of career I've had, you know, sort of backed off of for a while. And I have traditionally picked up the odd piece of work here and there just to keep my hand in it, because I love it so much. And so maybe that's what I've taken on to distract from all of this. I had just realized, I said something to someone not that long ago, oh, I just need to have a break. I love coaching. I love all of this busyness. I love my family. I love everything that's going on. But sometimes you just need to step back and not think about any of it for a little while. And I wonder if that's not why I took on these two things, just to distract. That's a good point. I'll have to ponder that a little more.
Yeah, I just, you know, there's just so many big things happening in your life, and there's this part of you that's allowing your physical self to heal, but I'm not hearing you allowing your internal self to heal and catch up. Have you taken any time for that?
You know, that thought sort of was fleetingly crossed my mind yesterday, and if it came across my mind, probably not.
So it came through your mind.
I
kept walking.
Why did it keep going? Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering now that you bring that point up, maybe that's why I took on these pieces painting, because I really do. It's a very, very much a very therapeutic thing for me to do.
2 minutes.
So,
Thanks,
what does the painting give you inside?
Peace. Just quiet. Peace and quiet. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like it has much to do with being a better juggler.
No, well, it does actually, indirectly. If I have that inner peace, then I can juggle those balls a lot better, I think. Wow, I just needed to slow down and think about this a little bit more. Thank you. That's a very good question. That was a very good point that you brought about. You know, what is that distracting you from? What have you, So I absolutely know that I needed to have that peace and quiet activity. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Is that enough for you to walk away with?
I really do think so. That's just amazing. Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest things get away from us, you know, and we don't acknowledge the wounds or the challenges we have inside of ourselves. You know, it's natural to say, oh, heal that shoulder, Lori, you know, but nobody's going to tell you, hey, Lori, you're empty nesting, you've got career transitions, but, you know, you're running a marathon inside. Give yourself a break, girl.
Yeah, well, you know, and to think, well, not, you know, I'm still thinking this as you're bringing that out. I thought, you know what, here I am, I took on some more, but it's actually taking on stuff like my subconscious or whatever it was that was, you know, is giving me myself that gift of peace and tranquility I need, you know. Interesting, very interesting. Thank you. Amy, you're awesome.
Thanks, Lori.
Yes, and well, okay. So, and I'm just curious if you could just very succinctly describe what you're walking away with, Lori, as a result of basically about 10 to 12 minutes of coaching. What is it?
Well, I would say that we have the answer within us, for sure. You know, I was already on that path. I just needed, you know, Amy to bring that out. Like, well, what is it that you're, you know? So she just sort of brought attention to what she was already noticing me say. And it was her listening exactly what this webinar is about. She's listening to what I'm saying, and I'm not listening to what I'm saying, perhaps. Yeah.
So, yeah, this was a beautiful demonstration of getting underneath that listening. In other words, going underneath the iceberg, you know, what the people are saying and all the things that are going on. And Amy is like a laser beam. What's going on underneath that? Where are we at? And I'm also wanting to mention that the participants are welcome to throw out any of their comments or questions in the chat area as we're debriefing this before we jump into the next coaching demo. And so we really saw in this demonstration quite extraordinary listening. And so as I'm going to talk to you, Amy, in a second, but please, you know, what did you learn about listening as you were, not you, Lori, that was great. And I'm thinking of the, see, we're seeing some comments now coming in, and that also that direct question. Does anybody remember what was that direct question that Amy kind of zoomed right in on? What was that?
It was fabulous.
Yeah. Exactly. That was like boom. And so Amy, as you were coaching Lori, what do you feel you did the most of during this coaching demonstration today?
I followed my inklings.
Could you say a bit more about that? Because you're a master at doing that. So could you say a bit more about how did you do that? How do you follow your inklings?
It comes from trusting yourself. You know, the thing is, what I was listening to was what was not being said, right? And this is real common, Lori. We do this. I do it, right? Until somebody busts me on it too. And that is that, you know, we're always like, oh, if I could just strategize a little better, or organize a little better, or handle more things, or whatever. More, right? We just want to know how to do more. And most of the time when you hear somebody do that, the cue is, you know, you had all this transition going on, but we never, unless somebody gives us permission to slow down and heal or rest or restore the internal parts of ourselves, we don't do it. We just think we have to externally be better. And so this was about following my inklings and then giving you permission to do that. You already knew, you know, but you let them come in and go out, right? Mm-hmm. And as coaches, we need to address the intangible, right? The things we can't see, feel, and touch, and address that, because that's coaching the whole person. But what you're looking for, Alison?
Well, I didn't really have it, but I love what you're saying. Yeah, because we're dealing with, whether it's in organizations or individuals who are creating a business for themselves and on their own, we're dealing with a human being. And this is where, this is where really great, outstanding coaching takes place, is when we're focusing on that whole person. And when we're listening at many, many different levels, and we're capitalizing on all our instincts as well as our skills. And that's what you are doing, Amy. You know, go ahead.
I'm going to ask a question. Does anybody know what the pivotal comment was for me to dive under the waterline?
Yeah, good question. What was that pivotal comment?
It was just before I said, oh, I have to ponder that. Because it really kind of, oh yeah, of course. And it was, I really enjoyed the different types of listening she did. Like she said, she listened to what was not being said. And even though I knew what I subconsciously needed to do to feel better, I let it walk. It was fleeting. It just went right past, you know. And she told me, she said, wait.
Yeah, she said, and I'm also seeing, I can see Helen and John making a comment about distraction.
Yes, exactly.
And that was,
it was two
words.
Go
ahead.
It was two words. Something's different.
Yes, that's when,
and all bets are off, because that told me you're a good juggler normally, but something's changed. Right. And that, coupled with, you came out of the chute talking about presence.
Presence, exactly. Presence, and distraction.
So those three words were enough for me to go hard with my inklings.
Yeah. And it makes you awesome.
Yeah. Now, there are situations sometimes, Lori, you know, you're obviously a self-aware person and have done personal development work. There are people who will resist that.
Yes.
Right. And so she might pitch, no, I just need to organize my desk better. You know, they'll go, and you need to be with them in that until they're ready to go in there a little bit.
Right. And the other thing is, the other thing about that, and that I always like about coaching, is 90% of the coaching happens in between the coaching. In other words, like Amy's saying, in this case, Lori, I guarantee that's going to be running through your head for quite a bit as you go forward in the rest of your week and months. Who knows? It'll come back. That's that was a big aha. And also that's stimulated parts of Lori's brain to really help her in processing. And that was also demonstrating that Amy believed that, you know, she allowed for that with her listening and her questioning for Lori to tap into her own wisdom, her own brilliance, etc. So that was that's fantastic, and I can see some comments on the side, and so thank you so much, both of you, for being willing to do this. And now we're gonna switch, and Ian, I hope, is there and can make his mic work. Ian, can you come back? Great. Can you come back?
Hear me?
I can hear you. That's fantastic. I don't know
Thanks,
that.
Amy.
And thank you, Lori and Amy, so much. And then what's going to happen now is I'm going to coach Ian. And Ian, I'm not sure, is your video working?
Yes, it is. But if you bear with me, and
oh, there you are.
Can you see me?
Almost.
It's yeah. Well, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Good. I can see you reflected in my window.
Oh,
By the way, everybody, I'm in London, UK, and it's dark. So,
okay. Right.
I'm technology challenged by my iPad. So anyway, we're here.
That's okay. And does it work for you to just not worry about that? Because you don't have to have your whole face showing if it's a bit challenging for you.
I can't see my face, which is a great thing. But I can see you reflected in the window, which is good enough. I mean, it's not the best, but it's good enough. Yeah, absolutely. And I can hear you perfectly. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to request of Amy is, if it's okay, if you can let me know at about the 8-minute point of our coaching. Is that okay with you, Amy?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, hey, Ian, thank you so much for being willing to do this under these kind of conditions. I know you were delayed with a plane and so on and so forth. And it's late. It's later in the day, for much, much later. It's probably about 9 o'clock, is it? 9:30?
No, it's about 7:15.
Okay.
Like 7:30. It's not too bad.
It's not as late. Well, it's great to see you. And so we've just got a short bit of time here for coaching. But what is it that you'd like to use the time for?
Well, actually, the interesting thing is, as well as you know, I've just gone self-employed. I think you call it solopreneur sort of role. And one of the ways of marketing myself, I decided, was to do a video blog. And I've actually been on a training course to find out how to do that around the technology and stuff like that. Bit of background, I'm used to making presentations to groups of people and to clients, but here I am. I'm all set to do a vlog. I've written a script. In fact, on the plane I was just on, I wrote another script, but I have this mental barrier to actually doing it. And I know what it is. I'm very self-conscious of how I sound and even how I look on video as well, or even in a photograph. I hate photographs taken of myself, let alone seeing videos of myself. And I'm like a horse straining in the reins. I've written what I want to say, so straining to do it, but what's holding me back is this mental barrier, thinking I'm going to look a real idiot on video and sound like an idiot on video as well. Don't agree with everybody who can hear me, by the way.
Well, I mean, this is a total aside, but I think you look great on the way you're doing this and sounding real good. But anyway, from my perspective, so that's what's so for our little bit of time. So if I'm hearing you right, what do you want to walk away with today?
Well, to be able to walk away and not tonight, but tomorrow, do my first vlog, say,
Okay.
I don't know. I should know how to unlock this myself, but I can't. And I find every excuse under the sun to not do a recording, even a dummy run recording.
Okay. So we got to get you out of the gate here with this.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I've got to get out of the gate.
Okay,
mentally, yeah.
Yeah, well, I just have to really acknowledge you for what you're doing, and for putting this together, for really embarking on a new marketing strategy for yourself as you're developing your new business and so on. And so, you said you just got this mental block, and I'm curious, have you ever had a situation like this before?
Not so bad. I mean, I used to have anxiety around doing presentations, put it that way. And I went off and I got a coach, a presentation coach for a day, and that, and a few little clues. Some of the barriers I had was I was fearful of the people who were in the audience watching my presentation, and I learned to teach myself that, you know, the old tricks, like I'm sure other people have, that, you know, other people have to get out of their pajamas in the morning just like I do, or even, let's say, cruder things than that, just to remind me they're human beings, and also to remind myself that actually they've come to hear me because they see me as the expert. And and I can't do that with a vlog because I'm going to put it on YouTube, and experts are going to watch it, people who know more about the subject than me. I don't see myself as the world expert on anything.
Okay. And if I'm understanding you correctly, you haven't had this exact situation before, but you've had situations that you had to, you said, you know, you worked with a coach and got some, all of that sort of thing. So what do you think now is it going to take for this to just not get in your way anymore?
I'm getting to the point where I think, yeah, I'll just get on and do it. Do some dummy things, get used to it, and just not care either how I sound, how I look. I don't know. That's where I am. You know, it's almost, I feel a bit like the person who's standing on the precipice, wondering whether to jump off or not. You know, it feels like that. And that's probably a bit extreme, maybe, but, you know, take that big jump. Put it that
it's
way.
A leap.
It is a leap. Yeah,
you're taking a leap into a whole new phase of your life, Ian, that I'm hearing.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
It's like you're revealing yourself, or your new approach, or your new career to the world.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I suppose that goes with it. Maybe that's an underlying uncertainty. I've been employed for 8 years. I've in consultancy, but I'm now going to be self-employed as a consultant, doing the same thing, but it still means, and I'm used to marketing myself and going to sell the client, you know, the company I work with and myself to clients or potential clients. But here I am, and putting it out forever, because once it's out on the internet or on YouTube, it's going to be there forever. And whereas if I do a bad presentation, I can walk away from it and people have forgotten about it in a day or something.
Right, but this will be captured forever. Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just want to check in with you on something. If I was to talk to you a year from now, what is it that you would like to be able to tell me has happened?
Oh, wow. There's gazillions of views on my blogs on YouTube. One thing. Second thing is that people have come to me for business because they've seen my vlogs. And I suppose those are the two main things. And I guess someone said, oh, you sound great. You look great on the videos. If someone said that, that would be brilliant. But it's the first two which are the most critical to me. That's the odd thing. Those are the most critical, and yet the thing that's stopping me is that third one. You know, that fear that people say, "Oh God, you sounded really crap," or you know, you look like a real dork on the video.
Okay, so what's it going to take to get over yourself?
That's, I guess, that's a good question. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I should do, but I don't.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you've got a plan. You're already, like I said, you're out of the gate and you've already started.
I'm out of the gate, but stumbling with this one thing. I'm doing other things and they're happening great. It's just this, and I'm sure that in this day and age, this is the way to do it, rather than do some glossy printed prospectus or something about me.
Totally. I think you're, you know, from my perspective, what I hear out there in the, you know, what's going on is absolutely that. So it sounds like you're really confident, if I'm hearing you right, that in your strategy.
2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Amy. You're confident in your strategy. Okay. Yeah. So what's it going to take? Because I have a request. I love to make requests, and that you can accept, reject, or negotiate my request.
Okay.
You know, Ian, I really want for you to be out there and to be compassionate and accepting that it may go really well, there may be stops and starts, who knows. So my request is that tomorrow you said you're going to do it, right?
Right.
Okay. So my request is, would you be willing to share it with me tomorrow, by end of business, your time tomorrow, what you've come up with? Would that be okay?
Right, definitely. Yes, that's a deal.
Okay.
I got a bit of a cold, so it'll sound. Here I am making excuses already, but you can see past that.
Yeah, I can totally
the
see.
Slightly nasal sound or whatever. Yeah. Thanks, and your feedback will be really great.
Okay.
And honest feedback, not just enough to get me to take the next step and do the next video or whatever.
You know, I just really want to say you have so much for people to benefit from in, you know, what you're going through, what you're doing in creating this, and the courage that is, you know, that you're taking to take this leap forward in a new phase of your life. Yeah. And I just really want to acknowledge you for that. And I'm excited about you sending me that video clip or however that will come. And so I'm wondering, we've only got about, you know, a minute or so left. What are you walking away with as a result of the coaching, this short little bit of coaching today?
An incentive to take that first step. And actually what you've done is, you've got me over that mental hurdle I was creating by giving me a challenge. It's, you know, you've made a request. To me, it's a challenge because I've got to overcome my mental block, and that's fantastic. So I'm walking away. Actually, the other thing is I'm feeling like a whole load's been lifted off my shoulders.
Good.
Because I'm, you know, I've been agonizing about this thing, knowing that I've got to do it, but finding every reason under the sun not to do it. You know, it's not like the camera won't work or stuff like that. That's all sorted. I've written the script of what I want to say.
You've done great.
I just need to hit the on button, really.
Okay, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. So, so I just really thank you for being willing to bring to this such a fantastic topic, by the way, because I'm kind of guessing there might be a few other people, including me, who is benefiting from this. So I just want to bring, so thank you so much, Ian. And
pleasure. I should say thank you, because you've actually really helped me. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's all coaching. It's coaching. So I'm curious, Amy, you know, we're going to do a little debrief here.
Yes, ma'am.
So
are you two done?
Yep.
Is this a close? Okay.
Yep.
Great job, Ian, by the way. Thanks for bearing your soul here.
Thank you.
I think we all struggle with, right? You know, I'm going to be out there forever and ever on YouTube.
The irony is, here I am talking on video to, I don't need, because I jumped on late, I don't even know how many people are listening to me or watching me.
Well, this
I don't
is
care.
Go viral in about
that.
15 minutes. So,
oh, thanks. Yeah.
So great, thanks, Ian. Well, let me just jump in here and talk a little bit about what I saw happening. I saw Ian come alive through this whole thing, and if you guys, and I'm curious what you'd say here in the chat. Where did you see Ian move from and to inside of 10 minutes? Anyone want to take a whack at that?
Oh,
yes. Yeah, that's good. Those are all good. Excellent. Yeah, all those things happen in 10 minutes. And yeah, that's great. Call to action. Yeah, Alison, you did a great job, because what happened was Ian came and said what his difficulty was, right? And instead of going to solution, right? And this is what so often coaches do, right? Is, oh, let's find a solution to this. Alison was more curious about what's in the way, what's it going to take to get that out of the way, and let Ian be the expert in that, right? So that Ian had to articulate it. He's been thinking it and probably struggling, and I'm going to take a shot at this, Ian. Beating yourself up a bit about this?
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah.
So you're just compounding the problem. It sounds like, oh God, I can't do this, and this. So Alison just asking those questions seemed to make you articulate that, so you could hear yourself. And I think that is, when we talk about listening, it's not just the coach listening, but it's the client listening to themselves. And I saw you kind of taking in what you were saying, and then you do this almost apology for it, like, oh, I know I'm doing it, but but where I saw the real pivotal moment become is when Alison acknowledged to you that this is a big deal. You're on the precipice of a big change in your life, and coming out in a way that you've never exposed yourself to the world in that way before. And so she acknowledged that and made it be the big deal that it is. And I saw you, that's when you changed, right? Like, oh God, she gets it. Yes. This is what's holding me back. This is a big deal. Yeah. And so you can see how sometimes by us just acknowledging, and of course, Alison acknowledged what Ian was feeling, I'm assuming, Ian, right? Were you feeling that this is a big, big deal?
Yeah, yes, it was. And also a big deal, and the apologies were because it was a ridiculously big deal. It's a big deal that I need to do it, but it's also a ridiculously big deal that I wasn't able to. I suppose in my mind, I'm thinking, why am I being so childish about this? I'm old and ugly, and old enough and ugly enough to be able to look after myself, and here I can't.
Yeah. And that just kept compounding the problem. Yeah. So when did you feel a real release in this coaching?
It was, well, the real release was when Alison made her request, and I was sitting there thinking, what's this going to be? What's this going to be? And then was great relief when she put this challenge down, and to me, I thought, wow, I almost felt, wow, that's the answer I need. That, this is something I can do, and it doesn't matter what I do. I just got to send any old junk to Alison, but you tell me tomorrow what you think, Alison. But it just got me over that mental barrier. And I know it won't be any old junk, because I'll make sure it won't be. And you probably won't get the first cut, so to speak, Alison. You'll get something I think is good enough to send you. but because that's what I'm like. But that was the thing. But I could feel Alison wearing away all the resistances and the barriers that I created in my mind as we were talking, because I was listening to myself thinking all of these things are, you know, they're trivial, they're small, they're excuses. And if I was coaching somebody or working with a client coming up with that, you know, I wouldn't be saying it, but I'd be thinking this person's just creating things out of thin air to help them not do something, I suppose. Yeah.
You
Anyway.
don't give yourself the same compassion as you would a coaching client?
No, I'm pretty tough on myself. So.
Never heard of that.
I'd hate to have myself as a coach.
Well, I noticed another area where you kind of came alive, and that was when Alison took you out of the present immersion fear, right? And asked you about the future 1 year from now.
Yeah.
And your energy changed completely. What happened inside of you when she asked that?
Well, I'll be very honest. The first thing was, I know that trick. I've used that one. But then I thought, well, it's brilliant because I know what the answer is. It was so easy, you know, and I was able to give 3 answers very easily. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, the third one came the last, which is probably the most difficult one for me, about getting some positive feedback about how I did the video, you know, visually, and how I sounded, but which is the main barrier to why I'm not doing anything. But you know, and the interesting, now I think about it, I should have had a 4th one, comments that people really like the content, but actually, I don't know, that wasn't important to me at the time.
Okay, I'm laughing because you've got a lot of shoulds on yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, and of course we never have.
Don't know anything about that.
We don't know anything about that, and we never have coachees at all who have all of those. That's why coaching is so in demand now. And, you know, individuals and organizations are wanting to equip everybody with these skills because of what it does. And it isn't rocket science. I mean, these are skills. These are, like, I love, Ian, that you said, well, I've heard that question before, you know, what's it going to be like a year from now? And I'm thinking, yeah, I know, I've said that a few times. But it's amazing that we create that structure of accountability for someone, and we hold that space for them to create their lives or portions of their lives in that moment. And we actually, because of listening and questioning aside from other things as well, is that I believe you. We want to be champions for people's brilliance, and it can intimidate, or it certainly has intimidated me over the years as a coach, to feel that I could even do that. It's skills. It's just being present for that other human being as they talk about something that's important to them and work it through. This is why it's so important, and that also, because I'm seeing different comments. There's some fabulous comments in the chat area as well, from fear to empowerment, analysis paralysis to action, talking it out, unstuck, ready to leap, self-awareness, courage to step out, you know, just so many fear and doubt to empowerment. I mean, this is in, and I want to emphasize this was in, and Amy's as well. It's exactly in the coaching with Amy and Lori, is that even in that short space of time, using some coaching skills, what it does for anyone who is really listened to, and that space available. I know when I'm talking with busy execs, I don't have time for this. You know, I can't, and I always say it's less time, when you do that, when you use that approach, it's less time in the end because Ian now is committed, and I'm using this because we just talked to, and yes, Ian, you can turn your, he's been holding up his iPad. Thank you so much. No, action. It's that forward movement. It's that taking action. So yeah, Amy, go ahead.
I'm going to bring one more thing up.
Yes.
Observation that I had that I think was a game changer for Ian. And Ian, I want you to listen to this because I want you to get more of it. When Alison made a request, which is also a challenge, because Ian came back and he says, I see it as a challenge. But what happened there, I felt, was Ian said, I have somebody who believes in me. And your energy changed completely. Yeah. You went from uncertainty, even right up to that moment, to I can do this. I can do this. And you had a whole new tone of confidence. And because you had somebody you felt safe with and who also believed in you, who you respected. And so I'll challenge you to get more of that, Ian. So I just wanted to say, because that's very powerful. That was very powerful, Alison.
Okay, good. I'm glad it was, and I see, you know, we're getting close. We've got about 3 minutes left, and so what I'm curious about is for the participants who have been listening away on this webinar, what specifically could you name, you know, one thing you were walking away or was of value today as a result of these coaching demos? And I'm just keeping my eyes on that. And while we're keeping our eyes on that, I want to remind everybody that we will be sending this out. There you go, Ian. It's going viral. We'll be sending it out, and we'll have some follow-up information, including an upcoming webinar, 2-series webinar that we're doing in November that focuses even more on listening and questioning, but it's also an introduction to coaching. So if there's anybody you want to send to it, we'll be sending the link, and it's very reasonably priced, and we'd love to have you join that 2-series webinar in November. And we'll also be sending out the link to Amy's, we'll remind people of your website as well, because I know you have a number of fabulous things that people can download and take advantage of that you've created around all kinds of particular challenges in the workplace environment.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And I'm also noticing perceptive coaching, 90% below the surface, inspiring, Amy's acknowledgement of my being used to juggling a lot of balls. Right. Renewed energy for coaching. 10 minutes can be transformational. Listen beneath the surface, promote an environment of trust. Finding solutions are the client's job. Absolutely. That Ray said that. Just loads and loads of great comments. So I want to just tapping into the English. I mean, these are great. These are fabulous chat comments. Thank you so much. And so I just want to finally acknowledge Amy for being willing to take up her valuable time to come on this webinar. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks. And thanks,
Good.
Lori.
And Lori and Ian for being willing to be the coachees. That's a courageous thing to do. So thank you all, everyone. And thank you also to Sandra for walking me off the edge a little while ago when I was having some technical problems, of course, with my video stuff. So coincidentally, thanks everybody. And we will stop the recording and hope to see you back on some of our webinars and some of the resources that we'll share. Okay, bye-bye everybody. Thank you.